from a Friday's permanent schedule in the past. So effective next week, if your customers, this is also a reminder for you. If you wish to come back in again, it will be next Wednesday onwards, and then on after every Wednesday. Okay. So without further ado, I just will go right through the deck of slides that I have. And for you guys that don't know me, my name is Michael Low. I'm the founder and principal of Shante Solutions, which is a Singapore-based company that deals with corporate executive health management. We look at how to manage and optimize the health of corporate executives, right? Oh, there. Hi, co-host, can you please manage? Thank you. And I'm also the principal of Shante Sanctuary, which is a functional medicine clinic here in Kuala Lumpur. We are located on Jalan Ampang. We're just 2 plots of properties away from Gleneagles Hospital. So easy landmark to find us. We're on the 18th floor, unit 20, if you need to know where we are. Towards the end of this talk, I'm going to give all clients or customers, in this case here, a free offer of a very interesting assessment at the clinic, which will help you to also understand a little bit more about your health, okay? Well, thank you once again for coming to this evening's talk. Tonight is everything about Zinzino. The motto of Zinzino is to inspire change in life. The founders of Zinzino, which is a Swedish company, is now into its 16th year. It's a listed company in Europe, and they have been working with very interesting science-based nutraceuticals food, being supplements, okay? So that's Zinzino. And you are now in the group of z-dreamteam. This is a small community that we've started, all of which is aimed towards to bring a better quality of life to everyone, rather than just bringing more years into your life, okay? So this is a very exciting, inspiring community that we have here in z-dreamteam. So once again, thank you very much for joining us. So tonight is everything about Zinzino, as I mentioned. Is a food substance that is best required by everyone, from a fetus or right through to an infant to your senior age. So that's Zinzino. And I guess I'm going to start off by mentioning about this massive confusion that we have in our life these days, with making a lot of different choices, choices of which house to eat, to stay, which restaurant to go and eat, you know, what food to buy, what school for the children. It's all surrounding us by tough choices, if not tough decisions to make the right choices, right? So that's the current problems that we have. And above all, when it comes to our health issues, it's so confusing to a lot of people. I hope by this evening, by the end of this talk, I'm able to bring to you some clarity as to how, if not what, would be the right thing to do for yourself, okay? So we have some secrets to share with you. So to stay healthy, there's all kinds. I'm sure a lot of you would have one way or the other been exposed to things like, you know, the right vitamins to take, the right food to eat, the right choices of different dairy products to buy for ourselves, and food to diets to embrace for ourselves, right? So there are some simple decisions that I can help you with. You see, on the World Health Organization, they have come to realize that the right proportion of essential fatty acids, which is omega-6 and omega-3, for us is 3 omega-6 to 1 omega-3 portion, okay? So this is something that we can't produce ourselves, this essential fatty acid. So it's something that we need to consume. And this ratio between 3 to 1 is the ideal ratio. So I'd like to share with you some reality in a moment. Now, typically, from all we understood, most food supply comes from the wild, okay? Like I have a cow here. So cows were once upon a time, not that very long ago, maybe 20, 30 years ago, were kept in a farm where they are able to graze the hills and eat the grass off the hills that they are allowed to roam around. So they're happy cows. But these days, look at the picture on the screen here, is very different. Most animals that we consume, be it chicken, pig, cows, even lambs, I heard have already started to be farmed in a production chain, if you may. You look at these cows, they are all caged up and they are just being fed all the time. And the food that they're being fed are primarily corn and also protein, if not soy. So in that case, the omega-6 value in these food supplies are very, very high, right? So the omega-6 intensity would then go into the system, and that's why we consume so much. And these days, with a lot of lifestyle that we are leading these days, we are a lot more of omega-6 essential fatty acids compared to omega-3. We just don't get enough of omega-3 because our body can't produce it, so therefore we have to consume it. And most of the food that we consume outside don't have the adequate, means they don't have enough omega-3. So we are a little bit short of omega-3 in the most processed food that we consume. That's a shortfall, and everything that we eat are laced with excessive omega-6, okay? So in a proper family, like you probably had dinner just about an hour ago, we all strive towards giving the best balanced food on our table. In reality, for all of us that works, this is the kind of lifestyle that we lead. We finish work, we meet friends, associates, or whoever that you need to meet to catch up with after hours. And that's the problem that they have. They eat fast food, they eat man-made, if not produced, processed food. And these food supplies are primarily excessive omega-6, right? So in that case, we have seen a steady increase of omega-6 imbalance, and the ratio that a lot of us get to see is 15:1. So 15 ratio of omega-6 and 1 ratio of omega-3, which is really not so good at all, right? So in this case here, co-host, can you please let someone in? Thank you. These are the numbers that we have across the world, if you may. Scandinavia sees a ratio of 12:1 by most of the population. Europe 15:1, North America 25:1, Australia 21:1, and Asia is 20:1. Now, in the recent months, you see, Zinzino Balance Oil, Zinzino company, just now in the pre-launch phase in Malaysia. They officially launched in May. So during this pre-launch phase, during this period, we, including myself and the associates, if not the partners of Z-Dream Team, have just gotten on board to share the goodness of Zinzino Balance Oil. And we have seen people that are being tested just from the earlier stage with a ratio of anywhere between 15, 20, 30:1, and we have seen as high as 60 to 63 to 100, or in fact, there's someone that I was told this morning, 93:1. So these are the kind of reality that we're facing, and this disproportion of omega-6:1 actually causes the imbalance of our health. And the conclusion to this is most of us are out of balance, and the out of balance actually leads towards inflammation, okay? Inflammation is the hardening, stiffening of our cells that causes all kinds of problems. And I'd like to take you through in a little bit here about inflammation, so you understand a little bit on what's the causes of inflammation and why the out of balance of omega-6 and 3 is so relevant for us to better understand. NCD, non-communicable diseases, things like cancer, cardiovascular, respiratory problems, and diabetes are all hugely due to poor health, as we can appreciate it. And this is the biggest problem in the 21st century. There are more and more people suffering. There's a lot more issues in terms of health issues that people are confronting that they are really not sure how to deal with. So instead of dealing with it, so they are very lost and they get deeper and deeper into the problems. Hence, chronic diseases are on the uprise, if not on the all-time high at the moment, right? So, and that part of the reason is because lack of awareness. A lot of people just don't know enough why they're falling sick, how they're falling sick, and what's the cause of them being sick, okay? And a lot of it has got to do with the healthcare system. I kind of biasly label the healthcare system to be a more sick care system. They don't look after our health anymore. They really looking for sickness and basically for their own economic wealth. So that's the issues that most of us, this is not a Malaysian problem. This is a global phenomenon. This is the problem that everyone faces in every country, if not every market, right? So the state of public health in Malaysia is steadily declining. We have been declining for the last, I think, 35, 40 years here in Malaysia, talking about Malaysia, our own country here. And that's because pharmaceutical companies have gotten stronger. If you go and see any of these public hospital, you'll find that the prescription of drugs is very free and easy. And the doctors and the medical team there is just prescribing a lot of medication that causes a lot more compounded problems in our health. That's the healthcare system here in Malaysia. And we do also have very, very poor dietary. Oops, there's a bird in my house. Oops. I hope it's a bird and not a bat. Anyway, so poor diet. So we don't have a clear understanding of what's a healthy diet to consume, right? So the healthcare system, the one government entity that's there supposedly to help us, is really not helping us. And of course, in addition to this prolific media boom in the world, we actually forget how to eat anymore. We don't know how to live. Every time we think of something that we want to eat, we look at ads and our mind is drawn towards that. Fast food, simple, cheap, affordable, and delicious. That's what the propaganda out there is driving all of us towards, right? So here is the health status, the nutritional status of our country. If you look at the weight ratio here, in 2011, 29% are overweight, and these days we are looking at 30%. Obesity is 19% from 15% just under 10 years ago. And abnormal obesity is now all-time high at 52%. 30% of women is anemic in their reproductive stage. Our children are suffering at their worst time ever in history. Anywhere between age 5 to 17, we see about 30% of our children in Malaysia having abnormal body weight issues. 15% of them are overweight, 14.8, which is also 15%, are obese. And 21% of our children under the age of 5 are stunted. Stunted meaning they are not able to grow naturally, normally. So it means they are unable to grow, right? So this is the kind of nutritional status of our country. Now, on a national statistics level, 95%, so just a fraction under 95% of children don't get adequate vegetables on their meal servings. Now, that's atrocious. I don't know what you think about it, but in my reckoning, in my opinion, that's very, very bad. And closing to 9% of the population at the age of 13 and above reportedly suffering from chronic body aches at 13 years old, whereby they're supposed to be running around, doing exercises and be very, very active to facilitate their growth through their young adulthood, their adolescence years. But instead, 9% coming up 10% very, very soon, these children are all suffering from chronic body ache. So meaning to say they are in pain all the time. Pain equals inflammation, right? As you can appreciate that. So these are the kind of early telltale signs how disastrous our community or our populations are. And 33% of these children are seeing a disruption in their daily movement or daily activities. Now that's really, really bad. Now, of course, in addition to that, now they have handphones, they are playing more, spending more time on their handphone and playing games, and they're really not moving around, and they're not out there doing any good for themselves, right? So in summary, the human species in general is being poisoned chronologically, right? And in general, people are aging a lot faster, a lot younger. Now, I'm sure you know people out there that is suffering from aging, degenerative diseases and aging processes at a much younger age. People that's in the 40s and 50s are having most of the symptoms of our forefathers in their 50s, 60s, and 70s. So that age has actually come down. The meta-analysis had also highlighted that the intelligence level has also declined. People are actually not so very smart as you compare to people in the 60s and the 70s. We're just 40 years away. And in fact, I just had a conversation with someone yesterday that this is the fact that younger people these days, not just in Malaysia in general, are not necessarily much more intelligent by comparison, right? And given this very accessible device that we have in our hands, and yet people are not in that way very intelligent, right? Neurodegenerative processes are coming down to younger generations of people. And above all, a lot of us started to see infertility. So male fertility has actually reduced. So younger children these days just simply cannot conceive. Now, this is a huge issue that I'm sure you would agree with me, all right? And let's not even talk about mental health. So what's happening to all this? It's basically coming from our food. The air is already bad enough in most cities, but some of us are living in a very cleaner environment, so that's not so bad. But food that we consume are, as I mentioned earlier, primarily excessive omega-6, very deprived of omega-3. And if you look at a lot of fast food we're consuming, they are all laced with omega-6. So that's the unfortunate lifestyle habits that we are facing every day. Now, don't think that, oh, you go and eat a bowl of mincing or wonton noodles and all this, you are better off than eating a hamburger on the screen there. It's all in the oil that they use and the food that they use and the processed food that they use to prepare the food. So it's almost inevitable. You cannot escape from this overdosing of omega-6. And definitely, as I've said, and you need to understand the disproportion of excessive omega-6 versus omega-3 essential fatty acids, okay? Now, all that causes inflammation. Now, there are a couple types of inflammation. Inflammation, the normal type are the acute inflammation that you cause onto yourself. You hit yourself and it bruises. That inflammation is self-repairing, okay? Fever is also causing our body to go into an inflammation state so that our immune system can battle over it, okay? So some allergic reactions, chemical irritations, infections, burns and cuts and wounds and etc. are good causes of inflammation. It's actually external, it's extrinsic. So the body is able to handle that kind of inflammation. But when inflammation is prolonged, that's where the problem starts and it causes inflammation. Chronic inflammation is a prolonged inflammation where the body is constantly in an inflamed state. Now that is no good. And it causes situations like cardiovascular diseases, neurological diseases, autoimmune diseases, and so on and so forth, right? Even down to cancer. Cancer is the cause of the mutation of a damaged cell. So I will share with you a little bit about cells, how we want not to have a constant inflamed cellular wall, the cell membrane, that doesn't allow good nutrients to come in and toxics to wash out. And that's the underlying causes of, or for a mutation of cells from a good cells or to a normal cell onto a cancerous cell. Okay. Whoops. Whoops. So causes of chronic inflammation are just a few listed on the list here. Chronic fatigue and brain fogs, pains and aches are the normal reaction of a chronic disease. Okay, hang on, I need to move this slide away. Hang on. Otherwise, I can't see my slide. And the causes of chronic inflammation, as I mentioned just now, is diet that is rich in pro-inflammatory food. Chronic stresses also causes inflammation, lack of physical activities, insufficient sleep, obesity, and so on and so forth, okay? And pro-inflammatory food are refined sugars and carbohydrates, the ones that we consume far too much of, saturated fats, trans fat, gluten, dairy products, omega-6 fatty acids are all the underlying pro-inflammatory food that we consume, okay? So that's very, very important. And by the way, we looked at dairy there. We are the only living species on this planet that continues to consume dairy products, milk and all, after we're weaned off milk by our mothers. You know that? It's really, really weird. Animals, when they go to a certain age, the mother will stop feeding them milk, and that's it. Their life is continue on with their own immune system fighting for themselves. And we human being is the only species on this planet that continues to consume milk and dairy products. Isn't that interesting to know? Yeah. So and why pro-inflammatory food is bad is because, as I've obviously by now you understand, it causes impaired absorption of nutrients in our body. It disrupts the integrity of our gut lining. It kills healthy gut flora. Remember, everything, most of the disease that we have comes from the gut, starts from the gut, and should aim at the gut, okay? So these are the kind of issues that we all face these days. Now, I won't touch too much on the different omega fatty acid introduction, but just to highlight to you the great importance of omega-3 that controls blood clotting, builds cellular membrane. This is a very important piece of information you must remember. Build cellular membranes, not just within the brain. Now, 60% of our brain is made of fat. So you want to make sure that you get good fat into the system so that the brain is able to function at its optimal level, right? And it has fat loss capabilities, muscle building benefits in athletes, and of course the young ones that's growing up, maturing into their adolescence days, reduces risk of cancer. This is something that we need to understand. Now remember, I was talking about the ratio 3:1. When you reach ratio 5:1, you eliminate or minimize your risk for cancer. When you have a health quotient of 3:1, you eliminate cardiovascular risk. Means your heart attack risk is hugely reduced. That's 3:1. So that's the importance of getting your essential fatty acids into balance, right? So it also helps promote heart disease, as I mentioned, diabetes, and reduces inflammation. That's just by omega-3 by itself. Omega-6 is essential for us, but the fact here is excessive, too much of overloading omega-6 is very, very bad. So just some of these functions that is good for us through omega-6 are things like it regulates brain functions, regulates growth and development, stimulates hair and skin growth. These are all essential benefits our body needs. But as I said, too much of that is really, really bad. And also, everyone is using far too much omega-6 to prepare our food. Omega-7 reduces inflammation, reduces insulin resistance. Omega-9, which is vitamin E, that is also found in the oil, reduces inflammation, okay, and helps joint health. So the bad thing, as by now you should know, about being out of balance is cardiovascular disease risk, type 2 diabetes, obesity, metabolic syndrome, irritable bowel syndrome, muscular degeneration, muscular degeneration. That's got to do with your eyesight, autoimmune diseases, and others, okay? So fundamentally, it's everything to do with inflammation. And that's the middle issues that you don't want to get yourself into. You want to reduce your state of inflammation so that you are pulling yourself away from exposing into the realm of chronic diseases. And that's something, it's a big no-no. And with this talk here, I'm hoping to hand you the key to your freedom from inflammation by way of consuming Zinzino's Zinzino's Balance Oil Plus. This is the product. And fundamentally, it's a omega-3 oil that has a fabulous partner in crime, and that's being polyphenol. Polyphenol is a pre-harvested olive oil or extra olive oil that helps prolong the lifespan of the omega-3 oil. Hence, it maintains the potency of the oil in our system so that it can work a lot better by approximately 5 to 6 times longer, okay? So Zinzino Optimal Health Protocol mixes the polyphenol oil into it, and it balances omega-6 and 3 to a level 3 to 1 at the objective goals, if you may, that everyone is gunning for. It restores cell membrane. Now, this is very important, again, to understand. It works on the cellular level, all right? And the use of pre-harvested olive oil allows the oxidation of the omega-3 oil. So it's just not a shield, but it actually prevents it from oxidation. And oil, when it oxidates, meaning is equivalent to being rancid, and rancid state is really not where you want to consume your oil, okay? And this balance oil is added with vitamin D3 and E. D3, as a lot of us know, is good for our bone health, is good for our immune system, and a mood moderator, as well as our hormones. So that's very important to also understand. And we simply don't get enough vitamin D3 these days because most of us are shying away from the sun. We don't get enough sun, and a lot of girls will put sunblock, wear shields and all, and men are just not getting enough time to spend under the sun to absorb the natural vitamin D3 that we get out of the sun, okay? So it's all here in the balance oil. And all this combination helps to contribute towards optimizing brain function, normalizes heart function, fortify immune system, stronger bone health, as well as mood moderator. And these are the combination of the Zinzino Balance Oil Plus that helps to promote all this, okay? So how do you get started on this? So this ingenious company has actually put together this fascinating balance test. It's a very simple process. You have one prick on the finger, 2 drops of blood onto a blotter, and place them into a airtight Ziploc bag, send it on to Oslo in Norway, and you get to read your report after 2 weeks. And what will you get in your report would be things like your omega-6 and omega-3 ratio, whether how out of balance you are. I'm shamefully, I think the next slide shows my result. Excuse me. And most of us, as I mentioned, in Asia have seen beyond 15 to 1, hovering at 20, 30 to 1, and some has gone as high as up to 90 or 100 to 1. So that's the out of balance or imbalance ratio that we get to see in the region here. Your protection value, omega-3 index, or how much of your omega-3 you have. So it's just not about the out of balance. It also tells you how much omega-3 index values you have in your system. It looks at your mental health. It looks at your membrane fluidity. So in the cell membrane itself. So it shows how fluid the cell membranes are. So that's very, very important. Okay. So this is my result, ladies and gentlemen. Shamefully, I thought I lived healthily, but so wrong. I'm 23.5 to 1, and this is just 19th of January. This is now 3 months into my program with Zinzino Balance Oil, and I'm surely looking forward to my better results come next month, right? So here you see those are the rest of the values that reflects on my omega-3 index is insufficient. So it actually tells you how much omega-3 you have. So the first box on the left side shows that I'm inefficient by 2.3%. My mental strength is moderate, so no big deal. I'm 3 to 1. My cell membrane is insufficient, is 19.4 to 1. So these are the extra things that you need to look at, right? So it's just not the omega-6 and 3 proportion, unbalance of 23.5. I encourage that you also try to understand the rest of your values, right? My protective value is insufficient, so I'm 0 there. So I have a lot of work to do for myself, right? So this test has been around for a little while, and closing to 750,000 people across the world have tested with this with great result before and definitely after the 120 days program. Now, this is the laboratory that they send your results to in Oslo in Norway. So it's known as Vitas. It's an independent laboratory to Zinzino. So it's not a Zinzino-owned company. Besides, the blood tests are all done anonymously. So meaning to say there's no my name, Michael Low, 59 years old, Chinese, Malaysia, sending my blood results there. And there's any tracking of my results before and after. It's all done anonymously, meaning to say I have one code, one barcode, and that's all they know of this particular blood that's sent out there, okay? So you wait for 14 days and boom, you get your results back and your health will never be a mystery anymore. So a lot of us at the moment, sitting at home, we're wondering, wow, how healthy are you? We don't know really, right? We're not sick, that's something we know. There's not a lot of pain, but we really don't know, the large majority of us, we really don't know how unwell we are. Let's not talk about the sickness yet, right? Sickness, we all understand. There's a little bit of a health issues, but something that we are able to manage. But we really don't know where we are. So that's very important. Now, when during this period of time, when you get your results back, you start to consume the oil. How do you take the oil? You take the oil by personalized dosage. Now, remember now, so far the journey has been evidence-based, right? It's none of this half guess or tikam kind of approach. So you consume this oil in accordance to your body weight. Now, how cool is that? My size, I'm 92 kilos. Obviously, I'm going to take a little bit more than you, 60 kilos lady or 45, 50 kilos lady out there, right? Doesn't make sense that if we're taking 2 capsules 3 times a day for as long as we live, that kind of dosage doesn't make sense. I have a bigger size, I have a bigger body. Obviously, I take a little bit more. So this personalized dosage is actually very impressive in my interpretation, right? So in this case here, I consume 13.8 ml, which is fundamentally 1 teaspoon is 5 ml. So for me, it's 3 teaspoons. Or in this case here, I take 1 tablespoon, which is about 10 over ml. So I have 2 spoons of not full tablespoons, and I whack it every day, okay? So that's how I dose it. Now, what's in the oil? This is the million-dollar question. I've already let you in to a large extent. What are the oil ingredients in the oil? It's fundamentally omega-3 oil The source is of small fish, of anchovies, a sardine or mackerel from the Scandinavian oceans. Why small fishes? Are we big bullies? No, it's not. Because as the fish these days, as you live longer in the ocean, they get to absorb all the contamination from the ocean. Now, there's a lot of lead, a lot of mercury, a lot of waste, a lot of toxicity in the water. So they harvest these small fishes because they are still at the purest state. Now, fish like us don't produce omega-3. So how do they get their omega-3? And at that size, they consume all the algae and planktons in the ocean. These algae has the highest level of omega-3. So that's where the source comes from. Now, I shared with you just now, the secret of the Zinzino balance oil is polyphenol, which is that olive oil, the pre-harvested olive oil that helps to protect the omega-3 from being rancid, means it has a longer lifespan, right? And along with it, it has vitamin D3 and E. Now, polyphenol by itself has other values, such as lowering of blood sugar. I can confirm that. And it reduces heart diseases, prevents blood from clotting, reduces chronic inflammation, lower blood pressure, reduces increases good cholesterol, and that's HDL, and definitely reduces LDL, which is the bad cholesterol, right? This polyphenol has these values, right? Promotes health digestion and promote brain function. Now, omega-3 oil already does this. Can you imagine now you have a double bammer with the cooperation of polyphenol, which makes sure that you have added values in where you're coming from. Now, we took the liberty to run a little bit of a comparison. For those that can see the screen, we ran it through with 5 different brands, major brands in Malaysia here that you find over the counter compared to Zinzino. None of them has polyphenol. If they have the vitamin E, and none of them has vitamin D. Some of them has vitamin E, but they don't really tell you the dosage or the value, how much of vitamin E they have. So these are very, very interesting numbers that we ran by comparison, and we find that Zinzino Balance Oil has the highest value of all the ingredients it has: polyphenol, omega-3, vitamin D3, and also E. Now, of course, omega-3 fatty acids is then broken down to EPA, DHA, and others value here. And EPA and DHA is of a higher dosage by comparison. So that's quite impressive. Now, this is a slide that I mentioned earlier with regards to the extension of the balance oil. It has almost 6 times further longer lifespan, hence maintaining the potency. That's very, very important. The potency has to be prolonged. Otherwise, our body cannot absorb it, right? So that's what it is. So one more time, polyphenol is the I call it the hero agent within the omega-3 oil, and vitamin D3 and E would be the supporting ingredients to the balance oil. Now, the extra value of this is you consume it by weight, by your weight. It's in that way personalized, and polyphenol protection within the oil prevents the balance oil from going into oxidation, meaning going into rancid state, okay? Besides, it comes with several different very easy to consume and very likable kind of flavors. So in this case here, when do you consume the oil? We have known in several cases, as a matter of fact, if I may be so openly to share with you, the founder's wife, they have 4 children. Every children during the pregnancy phase, Hilda, the wife of the founder, Mr. Oren, they consume the balance oil. So the kids are already starting to develop when they are in the fetus state, and definitely after they are born, where the most important time is for them to develop their bones, their postural, their brain function, and definitely the immune system. So they start feeding the children months young, right through to whatever age they are at. And for us, every stage in our lives where we need most development and support, Zinzino Balance Oil Plus is there to help to support that. So in our young adolescence years or young adulthood, we look at reproductive. As we age, like now, for me, my heart health is critical, my brain health, my brain function is the most highest priority for me, because I don't want to get a little bit dumb or numb in my head when I get a bit older. So these are the kind of things that I myself wants to look after. And also definitely my arterial, my joints, my joints and movements are very, very important for me, and bone health, of course, right? So I won't spend too much time explaining the benefits of omega. It fights depression, so a lot of us have, hence the mood moderator, if you remember, improves sleep. I used to need to take melatonin when I go to sleep, which is a natural sleep hormone, but now I don't. I don't need to, since I started to take the omega-3 oil of Zinzino, right? It reduces symptoms of metabolic syndrome, improves skin health. Now my skin has improved tremendously. It reduces inflammation. My right knee and left ankles are rarely in bad pain at the moment. So that has improved. And I hope it reduces the risk of my heart functions, heart diseases. My eyesight, I think I need to wait for the 4th month. I do have a little bit of a eyesight issue, which I'm waiting for a better improvement. Now, this is the last slide on the product of the oil. Now, you have to understand, European food safety authorities do not allow companies to make claims. But Zinzino managed to have 18 health claims approved by EFSA, the European Food Safety Authority. This is like the FDA of the European sector. So I just read scan two at random. Brain function, normalizing of brain function, normalizing of heart function, normalizing of immune system is critical. It protects cells aging from stress, normalizes bone structure, fights oxidation, normalizes blood pressure, cell division, teeth, and so on and so forth. Now, these 18 values are very, very important for us to understand and appreciate. So back again, how long do you take it? You take it for just 120 days. Why 120 days? I'll share with you in a moment. Our body is just full of trillions of cells, as you can appreciate, and various different organs regenerate itself. It rebuilds itself, such as stomach lining every 5 days, bones every 3 days, liver every 6 weeks. They regenerate themselves. The blood regenerates every 120 days, therefore 4 months. And that's the reason why you consume it just for 4 months. You run another test and you understand exactly where you are. Now, the next slide is everything about your cell function. On a healthy person, we like to know that our brain function, heart functions are all in an optimal level. Our joints and muscular conditions, our organs are all in the best optimum state, right? In a normal person, our cells should be soft and elastic. So meaning good food can go in and toxic, the poison can come out. That's on a healthy state of our cell. The cell membrane is the guy that manages in and out of the good things and the bad things, right? But when our body is in an inflamed state, that's where the problem starts. The cell membrane walls get hardened and it's stiff, so food can't go in, and it suffocates the cell content, and definitely toxic can come out, and it causes the cells to be on an inflamed state. Now imagine trillions of cells are in that state. Then you understand how our body actually is inflamed, and when our body is inflamed, and that's where the chronic diseases comes from, okay? So it makes sense to you. So with the Zinzino Balance Oil program, we are very confident alongside with Zinzino, in 120 days, it helps to restore you, right? So that's so much about the oil, the Zinzino Balance Oil Plus. Now, the Zinzino Balance Oil Plus comes in the oil state. There is a vegan addition, which means it is actually no fish in there, but the vegan ingredients are from algae that they harvest themselves. So you have a water-soluble ones, and then you have the premium that is coming in of the year. Have I missed out anything? But yeah, and also it comes in capsules if you don't want to drink it onto your tongue, onto your mouth, right? So there is a capsule models coming out. So the last product I'd like to share with you, which is a very simple thing, which I won't talk too much about it because the product speaks for itself. It's a very powerful skin serum that helps reduces lines and wrinkles. So I noticed that on my own face, and this is my second tube that I'm consuming. It actually reduces blemishes. I play golf twice a week, so I'm under the sun, and I'm one of those macho guy, and I think I'm really, really cool. And I don't put a sunblock on myself. So I do have blemishes on my face that is already starting to reduce. So that's very interesting. It hydrates dry skin and it improves the elasticity of my skin. This is fabulous. It works in 3 phases. It protects it, it repairs it, and then it rebuilds it. Or rather, I should say, it rebuilds the extracellular matrix, the skin underlining of the skin. It repairs it, and then it protects it. So the hero product ingredient in this skin serum is polyphenol, the extracted extra virgin oil ingredient, okay? So here I'll share with you one of our partners. On the left is after using the skin serum for 1 month, you start to see the staining of the lip, the eye bag under the eyes, and some refinement of the lines have actually been reduced. That's actually quite interesting. So it's actually redefining the lines on our face, right? So that's one case. Oh, I didn't put it in the right sequence. This is a young lady. I forget how old she is. On the left is before she took the Zinzino Balance Oil. And on the right is after she's taken it for just 1 bottle. She's onto a 2nd bottle and she has lost a good 7, 8 kilos already. So that's actually quite interesting. And now we heard some customers in Hong Kong losing 5, 10 kilos, but this is the first that we see and we get to see here in Malaysia. She's actually a Filipino living here in Kuala Lumpur. And that's by consuming the Balance Oil. This is a partner out of Hong Kong. Her name is Jude. It's actually my very good friend and my upline. On the left is, she took this, I think, if I'm not mistaken, in November. And as she claimed here, 47 days later, look at the skin on the right photograph. So she has actually, in this case here, regained a lot of skin, if not outer beauty in this sense. And Jude is my age. So she is, as you can see, all the blemish on the picture on the left. So she too, once upon a time, played a lot of golf. And look at the results there. It's quite impressive, huh? So the 3 products, the skin serum, which is fabulous for rebuilding your skin, your dermis matrix. That's the Zinzino skin serum. The 2nd product is the Balance Oil Plus. And the 3rd one is nonetheless the test kit that they have. And I thought this is the most ingenious thing you could do. A test from home, send it out in 2 weeks' time, you get a whole bunch of information with regards to your health, so that your health will never be a mystery as it is right now, okay? So that's as much as I would have to share with you this evening. So I have that much to say. So I think we just ran over a little bit of my my own limited time. So is there any questions? Let me catch up with the messages. Okay, GT, are you still here? GT, are you able to share with us some testimonial of your father's development? You mentioned to me earlier.
Yeah, I'm still here, but then I'm not in the appropriate attire, so yeah, there's no image.
Oh, don't worry, GT, don't worry.
Okay.
Go ahead, tell us about how your father fared. Go ahead,
okay,
please, GT.
My dad was like very near to his death, I so call, like before Chinese New Year, around like beginning of January. Yeah, okay. He was like in the hospital like almost every week. Like have to like admitted to hospital, and he was taking like 45 tablets of medication per day. And wow. I think this developed because like, you know, like my dad have this like the three highs, like the diabetic, hypertension, high cholesterol, high uric acid, etc., etc. And my dad is 71 years old. So he was going through this very hard time where he's like giving up on his life. Like he doesn't want to go to face all this hardship lah. And then he's like getting the family into such situation. And then nobody, within my brothers and sister, nobody actually really known, like they have the knowledge to actually care for him. And then it's bad for myself as well. I didn't have time to actually look into it because, like, you know, MCO, we are finding ways to get a living. And then I just carelessly, like, did not foresee, like, the worst case scenario lah. Then 2 months ago, I finally took over everything. I gave up a few jobs and then make time. I bring him to hospital. And that is the time where I introduced balance oils. I share all these feelings with Judy quite a bit. She's like a sister to me, and then she got to know my dad situation. So she asked, why not try balance oil? See he would get better or not. Then my dad was like, you know, like Chinese old folks, he's quite skeptical on all these unknown so-called supplement, and then they always think that it's a kind of medicines that they have to like add on like in their diet. But then take me a while to actually convince him to take the first test. He did not straight away take the balance oil. He waited 2 weeks for the result to come back. And of course, the result was like so terrible. It's like 20.9 to 1. And everything is straight. Wow. I mean, compared to other like the 30, and then he's still in a good stage, but then he's taking a lot of medication, like I say, 45 tablets a day. And then he did mention to the doctor, and the doctor did not even study about the balance oils and rejected the whole like concept of consuming it lah. But then put that aside. The thing is that my dad was unable to walk. The leg was swollen, like, you know, those like Chinese big bao, like those like big giant Chinese bao, like the pitting edema was like so serious. When you poke into the leg, the depth of the pitting is like half an inch, and he couldn't like go back to normal lah. And then his weight was 72 plus. While the body was retaining a lot of water, he grew to 89 kgs, meaning excessive of 15 plus kgs of water was retained in the body. And then no way to let it out lah. And then the doctor seems to be adding a lot of medication like to suppress the sickness, the illnesses. And then there's a point that the doctor prescribed 80 mgs of steroids to him. And then his skin was like have allergic reaction. And then the whole body, the whole outlook of my dad was like a charcoal, like totally black, like somebody like just was already in the coffin, I was Chinese saying. Then I questioned, I did like in a very hard manner to the doctors, why you do this to my dad? You are taking him like a guinea pig, you're putting on medication, etc., etc. Then I start to like care for him like full time, like for the past 2 months. And then he started to take balance oil. I just force it into him also lah, in a way. And today, surprisingly, the medication was down to 23 tablets.
Wow.
And then my dad start to regain the freshness of the skin. You can see like pinky. It's like, because he shed up two or three times of skin, like those like dead skin. And then now his skin is like baby skins are like, but still have this like, you know, the old folks freckles, all these like the dots, but that is normal, I suppose. And then the pitting is no longer there. The weight is now a healthy 70 kgs. And then he walked around like normal to me. Because 2-3 months ago, my wife can't even recognize my dad. You know how severe was that. I wish I had photo to show you lah. My dad are quite like concerned of his face one, so he don't like people to like, no, I like oil facey, things like that. So he don't want people to take his photo. And then he start to see the good of the oil. And then to my sharing now is that normally I have to force him to consume the oil. And then I'm not staying with him, you know, like, and then my mom told me a few days back, when he ran out of oil, he was asking for a new bottle and then he like consumed himself like regularly now every day with the right ratio to consume. And then my mother result is quite impressive. Actually, was 5.0 to 1. And then quite healthy at that point. My mom is still also using balance oil. So both of them are quite happy with the oil. And then what I want to share is that it is not a medicine towards in terms where people thought it was. It's just a supplement where it helps. And I wanted to share like the story because like the result that I've seen on my dad's myself was like so impressive. It is like a miracle. You see one person that is already in a coffin, and then he's so energetic nowadays. Like he go back to his like daily routine. He even go back to the office and try to do some work 2 to 3 hours a day now. And then of course there are times that he's tired and stuff because he's overusing his energy. But then overall it's good. He's like medicine is down. He do injection on insulin also, and the dosage was reduced by the doctor. The hypertension medication was reduced by the doctor last week also because the pressure was like 90, 120 and so good at the age of 70. But then until today, I did not mention anything to the doctor. The doctor was just surprised that how come suddenly a turn of the corners that a dead man kind of like patient, it becomes so energetic because he can like fool around with the doctors and the nurses at the hospital. The doctor was quite surprised. The doctor said, wow, you suddenly so good, you got energy, you got eat any special medicine outside without him knowing or not. But then we just keep quiet. I told my dad, don't say anything yet. Who knows, the doctor might reject it, and then you hear what doctor said, and then you kind of like change your mind already. Just let it be. And then the doctor appointment was actually 3 to 4 days apart. And then every time seeing doctor, he had to be admitted to the hospital for 4 to 5 days. Now the schedule of doctor appointments already being dragged to a month. So we only need to go back to the doctor like next month. So my dad was quite happy about it. And the cardiologist that is seeing my dad said, wow, your heart is so healthy, you don't need to come back already, because he did like 2 balloons like few years back and the heart was like going back to the normal rate. The liver reading is so good, like it's like under 35, and then the uric acid is starting to go down. The kidney function is still not that great, but then it's like recovering, that I should say and everything is good So yeah, that's about it. Yeah, that's about my
Fantastic.
story to share. Yeah. I'm very faithful, and thanks to Judith that have introduced this or share this balanced oil with me. I kind of a skeptical person also because I take none supplement. I believe Judy have told somebody that I used to have to take one like called Monavi, like the acai berry juice, because
Right.
I don't like things in tablet forms. It's like kind of eating medicine. So everything in liquid form to me is like, okay, not that bad. It doesn't look like a medicine. And myself is taking balanced oils. My wife is taking. My result was not that good as well. And my wife is even worse. I'm like 20.4. My wife is like 20.7. So it's like kind of an expected result. Then I did not wait for the result. I took the oil straight after I take the test. So now it's all good. So we will continue using this oil. So for people that, the new people that are listening in this group, I urge you to give yourself a chance to try it, and then no regrets. If you don't see result, all it takes is 120 days. And for me, I foresee my result would be very impressive. Then it will be another life testimonial for me as well, because I'm at 82, 84 kgs. So I lose some weight and I felt more energetic. And yeah, energy level is good. So yeah, that's about all. I don't want to keep everybody waiting. Maybe some other people want to share their story. So that's all from me.
Great.
I haven't
Thank you,
really run the
GT.
business. Yeah, I haven't really run the business yet because I was like waiting for the right timing to get everything right. I think I spoke to Michael about the binary and stuff. I was in like quite a bit of binary. Like now, Zinzino has a hybrid binary system whereby it comes in two ways of profit margin. I'm still discussing with Judy, so I'll come up with something that when my dad is kind of now settling already, so I will get more time to look into the marketing plan, and we should move from there. Things that we'll share around.
Okay.
Good things. Yeah. Cool. Thanks.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, GT. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Wow. I wish Dad every success in his recovery.
Yep,
but
thanks.
it's such a fabulous testimonial. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hey guys, you know, if you would look at the balanced oil as now, what I keep telling a lot of people that I speak to, don't look at it as really as a supplement, a standalone supplement. Look at it as a very premium product, a food product. I think you have an easier way to embrace it. It's such a high quality food that is coming out of Sweden at the moment. I myself love it, and I have it with almost everything. I have it on my coffee, a little bit of bulletproof. I have it with my salad. I have it with my, even I add balance all onto my salmon when I have it. I have it with my pizza. I have it with everything. I'm just now starting my little baby dog here with Zinzino oil. So you get a Zinzino dog very soon too. So he needs only 3 ml. So I think that's okay. So yeah, I wish everyone every success. Yeah, it's a good thing. So we need to share good things, and it's hard to come by these days with you know good, beneficial, active, and also premium product. So I highly recommend that. So there goes. Is there any other questions? Any questions? So, okay, I really don't want to hold you. We started late today because I was chatting about moving the talk for customers, which has been for Friday. Now we're going to move the Friday customers talk to Wednesday. So it will be every Wednesday. So for partners, every Monday is partners insights. Every Wednesday is for customers sessions. Okay. So thank you everyone for your time again. It's been my utmost pleasure to share with you the few slides that we have. And I thank you and have a great evening. And most importantly, enjoy your weekend within the wonderful worlds of Zinzino. Thank you. Bye-bye. Selamat malam. Wanan.
Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.